After confirming what many of her followers already knew, Nadia Comaneci, the renowned gymnast whose perfect tens startled the world, has again captivated our attention. From a Romanian prodigy to a worldwide icon, Nadia's career inspires new generations as a gymnastics pioneer. Recent remarks reveal the keys to her unmatched performance, persistent effort, and mentality that took her to the top of her sport. Nadia's gracefulness and strength demonstrate the value of endurance and greatness. Follow Nadia Comaneci as she recounts the events that defined her career and made her a sports star. From the Romanian. Nadia was born in the city of Onesti, Romania, in the Carpathian region. Nadia was always bursting with enthusiasm as a youngster. Growing up, she still seemed too energetic. She exuded vigor and vitality. Nadia used to play outdoors in the garden and around the house for hours. Her mother, therefore, discovered a way to focus her energies. She understood how to utilize her incredible energy and wanted to use it. Nadia's mother wanted her desires to be satisfied. She thus had the brilliant idea to sign her up for gymnastics lessons. She had assumed it would exhaust tiny Nadia, but the reverse was true. Nadia exercised, jumped, ran, and danced whenever she could since she was so enthralled with the sport. Despite her mother's expectations, little Nadia never grew weary of the sport, but she developed a deep passion for the game. Ascend gradually. The day she started class was crucial to her. Nadia knew she had discovered her vocation in life the moment she walked into her first lesson. Little Nadia's life changed on that day. More than any place else, she began to enjoy her time in the class. At that moment, her mother realized she had made the correct decision to provide her daughter with a positive outlet for her amazing energy. Summer school, a rigorous schedule, and exhausting exercises were things Nadia had looked forward to since kindergarten. It was a fantasy come true that began as a childish frenzy. Even though Nadia was young, she knew she would become a gymnast. We are aware that discovering your purpose at such a young age is not always common, and since they have an advantage, those who do are very fortunate. Get together with Bella Caroli. When she was younger, Nadia used to do cartwheels and other tricks with her pals. However, the little girl was unaware that she would also attend a conference that would permanently alter her life's path. She was going to meet a guy who would see the potential in her and quickly assist her in becoming the finest version of herself. Arguably, this was the finest decision Nadia had ever made. Don't let it fall short. Every day, Bella and Nadia trained. They worked for 3 hours every day. Determined to bring out the best in her, Bella spent a lot of time training her one-on-one. Fortunately for her, Nadia's home was practically next door to Bella's gym, so they could work effectively without wasting time traveling. As a result, the latter could go farther. For the little child, the beginning was difficult in every way. Nadia's participation in the first amateur competition only sometimes resulted in awards. Bella continued to provide her with all the assistance she needed despite this. Bella had self-confidence, and the girl became better with time. Now she worked with more ease. She became more self-assured and improved, becoming stronger and more capable. First game. The Romanian Junior National Championships were Nadia's debut competition in 1969. She was, very surprisingly, just 7 years old when she competed in the tournament. The youthful beginner, nevertheless, placed 13th overall. She still had a long path ahead. This was only the beginning. She was fresh, vibrant, and full of life. Her trainer, Bella, has always had complete faith in her from the first day of instruction. The girl was not deterred by her poor rating. Instead, it appeared that this first setback increased her motivation. Nadia came back to train even more diligently, and she achieved excellent results the next year. Despite just being 8 years old at the time, she won the tournament. She triumphed with skill. At that moment, Nadia's coach realized she would be the next big worldwide star. Elderly exercise. Nadia was 14 years old in 1975, yet her abilities had multiplied threefold. she was able to defeat opponents who were older than her. The little girl competed in senior events in this manner. She was becoming more and more radiant. Her mother hoped for an even better future for her daughter and was proud of her. Nadia was becoming more well-known than the other girls her age. She was only getting started in senior competition when she won 5 medals at the U.S. Tandem Cup and the European Championships. Nadia's goal was more ambitious, to compete in the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal. With a talent as explosive as hers, everyone in the globe was waiting to see what she would unleash at Montreal's largest stadium. The kiss that Bart gave me. Comaneci competed in the first American Cup at Madison Square Garden in Manhattan in March 1976. During this match, she faced Bart Corner, another champion. At such a young age, her career was only getting started, yet she was already doing tremendous things. Her trainer put a lot of effort into molding her into the person he wanted her to be, since he had seen her inherent abilities. The route to Montreal. Nadia was prepared to win the Olympics when she debuted in July 1976. By this point, she was also beginning to get recognition from the world of international gymnastics. Despite her accolades and abilities, no one could have predicted what the girl would do. She had a deep-seated desire to excel and surpass others on her level. She was going to become quite well known. Even Nadia could not have predicted the result of the contest. Nadia performed well, but she was also nervous and circumspect. However, it was immediately apparent to everybody that something remarkable was about to occur as the game began, and it didn't take long to arrive. During the Montreal, Canada's Summer Olympics in 1976, Nadia Comaneci created history. The elusive 10. Gymnasts are often graded on a scale of 10 for their routines. Furthermore, before Nadia came, no gymnast had received a perfect 10 in the Olympics, so the scores often varied from 1 to 9. That score has never been given to a gymnast before. Because of this, she continues to represent the sport in Romania. This honor was just the start for Nadia. Much more was ahead of her. Obtain a theme tune. Globally, the young woman's Olympic achievement left a lasting impression. The young Romanian's profile rose after her outstanding achievement in this tournament. Sports journalist Robert Reiger chooses to air snippets of Nadia's Olympic performance on ABC's Wide World of Sports TV broadcast. The gratitude took her by surprise. The Cotton's Dream theme tune from the film Bless the Beasts and the Children plays throughout these slow-motion scenes. The song made it into the top 10 singles in the autumn of 1976 after the piece was shown several times. The songwriters formally dubbed it Nadia's theme tune as a result. Nadia was going further than she had thought possible. A surge in acceptance. Nadia has become a sensation in the gymnastics world. Furthermore, she accomplished a great deal more in this sector. In 1976, the BBC honored the Romanian nugget as Overseas Sports Personality and Female Athlete of the Year. Nadia was honored with this recognition, which increased her self-assurance and helped her achieve unparalleled fame in Romania and elsewhere. News articles featured her picture, particularly on the Time magazine cover. It was an enormous honor for the youthful victor. The authorities of the child's native nation welcomed her back and accorded her the dignity of an honorable person. Nadia became a national hero, receiving several honors and presents from the Romanian government. However, the glorious times of the young Romanians were short-lived. Things started to turn around for her. Things became worse. From a distance, many who saw the champion's life thought Nadia had an ideal existence. However, those toward the top of gymnastics realized it wasn't. Her life wasn't only about the accolades and glitter that the world saw. She was also dealing with personal challenges. In the background, everything began to come apart, and the tone was established by her familial circumstances. Her parents' relationship was in jeopardy, and they couldn't stand one another. When their daughter was the center of attention, they got divorced. Their divorce had a profound effect on her. When the whole world is watching, No kid wants their parents to split up. Furthermore, Nadia was called up to search for a new trainer and was forced to cease practicing with her cherished coach, Bella. It was a challenging circumstance. Attempt at suicide. Her age was just 15, but she felt uneasy about what had happened to her. Nadia experienced control and confinement. Normally, she had developed into a true personality despite her early age, but her mental health had started to suffer as a result of her family's troubles. Because she was the center of attention and the media was hyping it up more and more, she felt like she could no longer handle it. She was not as affected by the demands of her training, those of the global media, or the government's participation in her life, as she was at the start of her success. Nadia was choking a little bit now, and she was at her breaking point. She would attempt to take her own life because of all this desperation. However, this effort at suicide was unsuccessful. Following the harrowing incident, she was relocated by the Romanian authorities to Bella for training, and some semblance of normalcy returned. Success in teenage years. The young girl deserved a life away from the spotlight. She had entered puberty. The Romanian authorities requested that Nadia give up athletics for a period since gymnasts often perform best when they are tiny. The child seemed in dire need, so it was the proper choice. Nadia decided to give up working out and have a typical adolescent life. She quickly gained several centimeters in height. The young lady struggled to avoid the training room even after this respite. She returned to the gym and resumed her competition despite this. She was irrepressible and had an unwavering love for her sport. She received medals for her nation as a result. Nadia was destined for a career in gymnastics. Regardless of puberty, the young Romanian was invincible. An enigmatic case. The media is known for exploiting young athletes with spectacular achievements, readily fabricating amazing tales. Nadia was subjected to media defamation since she was a well-known athlete. In actuality, they made it their goal to report on the activities around her life. The Olympic winner has been the subject of several tales describing different facets of her life. One said that Nadia was having an extramarital romance with Nicu Ceausescu, the dictator Nicolae Ceausescu's son, in Romania. As a result of these rumors, the champion's reputation started to decline progressively. Rumors circulated that Nadia was attempting to gain more influence by using her rank and career accomplishments. However, these rumors were completely untrue. No affair was being had by Nadia. Descending once again. Nadia hasn't wavered in the face of all the chaos and controversy. She kept up her intense work. In 1980, she participated in the Olympics in Moscow. This time, she was determined to maximize her career and did not give up. And once again, her efforts were rewarded. Romania's Olympic torchbearer in gymnastics took home 4 medals, 2 of which were gold and 2 silver. The gymnast's return was significant. Hecklers. Numerous entities were enraged by Nadia's quick ascension. The winner was singled out during the Olympics after becoming a global sensation. In the face of competitors who want to destroy you, it is only normal for a well-known individual to have many adversaries, and Nadia's experience at the Olympics is the same. Set points. Bella's disputes about the tournament results gave everyone the impression that politics was becoming increasingly involved in the Olympics. Thus, it got in the way of this match's actual goal. People demonstrated against the politicization of the Olympics due to Nadia's treatment. The chance of slogans would have sent any gymnast reeling, but Nadia held her ground despite the distraction. The key principles of this significant international athletic event are Olympic neutrality. Therefore, to hold them accountable for political conduct was a very severe accusation. The coach claimed to have seen instances when Russian judges altered the scores and outcomes of their gymnasts, and neither the Russians nor the communist government in Romania took these claims lightly. Taking advantage of Nadia financially. The communist government of Romania was having problems in 1981. Consequently, the Romanian authorities understood that Nadia might save them much money. Thus, they planned the Nadia 81 tour. Nadia traveled the U.S. on her tour in a manner akin to a rock star. People swarmed around her everywhere she went to get a look at her because of her immense fame. They all admired and adored her. Indeed, Nadia was a global celebrity, drawing large crowds to see the amazing feat of gymnastics. The government received $250,000 from the successful trip, but Nadia herself was paid only $1,000 for her work. At the time, $1,000 was a lot of money in Romania, but it looked more like exploitation than anything else. It seemed that they had been taking advantage of Nadia for personal gain. Some of Bela Karolyi's errors. Bela's life was in jeopardy when he incited unrest at the Moscow Olympics in 1980. The Romanian government began sending personnel to track him and monitor his actions. He was being observed and spied on. He was no longer leading the tranquil life he had before. Bela's life had taken a sharp turn, and his faults were costing him his honor. This is the reason he and two other members of the Nadia 81 tour chose, after the trip, to desert to the United States instead of going back to their native country. Bela had believed that his athlete would stick behind him through this surge. He asked Nadia if she wanted to accompany them on their run. On the other hand, Nadia was uninterested and only wanted to return to Romania. Steps. Thus, Nadia did not decide to accompany her trainer. She returned home since she loved her country more than any other place. The Romanian authorities, however, believed the young champion aspired to follow in the footsteps of her mentor. Thus, she was no longer trusted by the Romanian administration. They tried to stop Nadia from becoming her trainer Bela's apprentice. As a result, the young lady decided to prevent him from traveling to Western nations. They were reviewing her mail and tapping her phone. They chose to keep a careful eye on her as well. Additionally, the government gave agents orders to follow Nadia around. The impoverished child was stuck in her nation, and the government's growing intervention in her life only made it worse. A strategy for evacuation. The life of the young lady has evolved. It was challenging for her to get the peace of mind she was due because of the government's participation. Nadia didn't want to leave Romania at first, but as things worsened, she started to see that staying there was becoming risky. She had to act, even if it was against her will, to go before it was too late. She got in touch with Constantine Panate. He was a citizen of Romania who had left the country a long time ago. This guy had traveled to Florida by swimming the length of the Danube. Panate promised to remove Nadia from the nation and transport her securely to the United States. Nadia decided to give it her all and give Constantine a go. She knew it wouldn't be simple, but she was willing to try it. Keeping her family in the dark. Nadia knew she couldn't inform her parents, as they would object to her leaving her own country. She carried out her plan until the last minute, but her parents were unaware. Her brother and her spouse were the only individuals she told. She was inspired by them to seek out a better life and stand up for herself. Thus, she believed they were the ideal individuals to inform about her objectives. Nadia decided to carry out her plan. After contacting Constantine, the two started arranging and preparing her escape. Nadia was still determining who should lead the way in her escape. Thankfully, after confirming Constantine's identity, her brother persuaded her to change her mind. Nadia was under continual observation, so things weren't easy for her. Best of luck. Up to the very last moment, Nadia was terrified and perplexed. Despite her doubts about the escape plan's effectiveness, she followed her guide's instructions and didn't stop. But whenever she was free to leave the area she was assigned to, her misgivings only became worse. In the middle of a very cold European winter, Nadia arrived at the border with Hungary. The fact that it was chilly added to her sense of helplessness and fear. The well-known gymnast was recognized by the Hungarian border police immediately, but they arranged for her transportation to the Austrian embassy and provided her with a blanket rather than detaining her. She was taken aback. but she was happy with their handling of her. It took her only a short time after that to arrive in Vienna. She met Panate there, and they purchased airline tickets to New York. Diligent. There was a different amount of activity when she first arrived in America than a few years ago. Her arrival did not meet everyone's approval. The American public's response to her presence could have been more positive. She was informed, at least, by the chilly response she encountered, that her days as a stunning gymnast in her adolescence were over. She was in a new phase at this point. This time, gossip and debate focused on a young lady wearing high heels. Rumors were circulating that she was having an extramarital affair with Constantine. When many individuals questioned her about it, Nadia said, "So what?" However, since she wasn't proficient in English, this was the only response she was aware of. Nadia was not welcomed, but she was kept from being sent away. The double cross. Nadia was grateful to Constantine Panate for his assistance at her most vulnerable moments. She was glad to give him the reins to run her career. She was unaware, however, that this guy was scheming to harm her. Her benevolent smuggler had already attempted to cut her off from the outside world, particularly from her pals who lived in Uncle Sam's nation. Nadia's many Romanian friends attempted to contact the latter, among them the young American gymnast Bart Connor and her cherished old trainer, Bella Caroli. The gymnast was unaware that her friends were attempting to get in touch with her when they phoned Panate to try to get in touch with her, even though they had heard about her arrival in the news. He didn't reveal it. Make an effort to communicate. Bart Connor took little offense when he saw that Nadia was not responding to him. He decided to investigate nevertheless. Since they had always been on such good terms, he knew Nadia wasn't the kind to ignore his calls or texts. After investigating, he discovered that Nadia had not spoken to anybody since coming. Connor felt it strange and contacted the program's producer when he learned that Nadia was scheduled to interview on Pat Sajak's show. The American gymnast then took a plane to Los Angeles. He was heading directly to the studio in a rented helicopter. Fearing he would not have a chance to talk to her face-to-face, he went there as a surprise guest to meet her on the air. Unlike how he seemed to be. Nadia was being held hostage by Panate to manage her life better. Both of the runaways lodged at hotels and motels. Because of how Panate acted around her, she convinced herself he was her buddy. Nadia picked Panate as her manager because she believed he was a kind and trustworthy guy, even though she was unaware of the plots he was hatching against her. Nadia's close friend and gymnastics instructor, Alexandru Stefu, had decided to assist Nadia. All of this occurred very rapidly, and at last, the young Romanian realized that the person she had thought of as a friend was not one at all. When she discovered his true motivations for her, she was devastated. For once, she was reevaluating who to believe and who not to, but Panate was beyond her suspicions. Paul carries along. Nadia was left with nothing after Panate made such a huge mistake. She was cunningly duped by him, and she was unaware of it until it was too late. She needed somewhere to stay since she was out of money. Since her buddy, Alexandru Stefu, perished in a diving accident, she wasn't able to rely on him. She was frightened and couldn't care for herself since she had no money left. So she struggled to make ends meet as best she could. Thankfully, Bart Connor's gymnastics coach, Paul Ziert, volunteered to host her at his home. He intended to settle in Norman, Oklahoma. Nadia then moved in with Ziert's household. The coach put her in charge of finding a job by designating her as a personal manager. It is at this point when Bart and Nadia started becoming intimate. At last, she felt comfortable. Reestablish contact. Ziert was aware of his student's fondness for the stunning Romanian gymnast, so he provided Bart Connor Nadia's phone number. The fact that he could finally get closer to the young lady made the latter glad. After all the chaos she had experienced, Nadia was finally about to start a fresh chapter in her life as the two started to get very close. In the next year, the two gymnasts' phone conversations increased in frequency in this manner. Then Bart volunteered to assist Nadia in starting and operating a gymnastics school. Nadia accepted her boyfriend's offer since she felt honored by it. Their bond developed and flourished, and it seemed that Nadia had finally found her calling. For her, it was the ideal location. In addition, she had plenty of company. A romance revived. We recall that a few years before, Bart and Nadia planted a kiss on each other's cheek, a scene that attracted a lot of media coverage. That kiss had finally found purpose. You might assume that this was a harmless deed. However, he was the start of intensely suppressed emotions. It would be nothing like what Nadia had known growing up among this media attention when she was a little child. Bart and Nadia were already close when they often competed. After all this time, they began dating since they appeared inseparable every time they saw each other. However, the actual catalyst was discovered in Amsterdam in 1994. At last, Bart got up the nerve and said what he felt for the love of his life. You may probably guess that Nadia said yes to him. Following the overthrow of the Romanian regime, she and Bart were married. They chose to carry it out in Bucharest, her hometown. Everything proper place. The people of Romania wanted Nadia to return since it was no longer a communist nation. More than everything, she too yearned to return to her own country. She'd spent enough time away. She wanted to live a tranquil existence in Romania with Bart. She was hailed as a national hero by the liberal new administration. As a result, the woman's status allowed her to enjoy certain benefits. The Romanian government even permitted the couple to have their wedding ceremony in the Chamber of Parliament. People traveled from all around to honor the greatest Romanian athlete of all time. A television broadcast of the wedding was conducted, and about 10,000 people watched. Many took time off work to attend, and Nadia experienced a renewed sense of Romanian national identity. She felt bad. Regretfully, the lady was forced to return to her own country. This time, she would create a family with her spouse instead of seeking refuge. Nadia regretted leaving Romania, however. She said during her wedding broadcast that she had always liked Romanians and that her issues with the government had nothing to do with them. She had a particular place in her heart for the people of Romania. Thus, the populace's expression of devotion to her was mutual. Nadia, who never lost sight of her accomplishments and sense of patriotism, is still regarded as one of the nation's most cherished, esteemed, and revered individuals. Nadia, nevertheless, is as close as she can go to the nation's top leadership. She is still well regarded and loved by many, despite of all her accomplishments. The Academy. The Gymnastics Academy was created today by Nadia and Bart Connor. Thousands of young kids volunteer each year to be trained by these elite athletes, even though it is in Norman, Oklahoma. The institution is large and highly esteemed since its founders, Nadia and Bart, are two very accomplished athletes. A lot of individuals like visiting this institution. However, the pair engages in other interests outside of gymnastics. When Bart and Nadia aren't operating the school, they speak and train people all around the globe. They gain from the assistance of several sponsors. Everyone at the gym wants them to promote and support their goods commercially. They also have a sizable following of supporters who respect their opinions. Bloodshed. Training for professional sports may be quite challenging, particularly if it begins at a very early age. However, there's a distinction between a rigorous training regimen and the mistreatment many instructors engage in. Being the face of Romanian sports at such a young age, when most girls her age were content to live a quiet life with friends and family, presented Nadia with her own set of obstacles. We all remember the tale that shook the gymnastics community in 1985, a narrative of a Romanian gymnast, age 11, who was fatally beaten by her instructor. Additionally, he attempted to defend his actions when detained and interrogated about the incident some months after the catastrophe. Then he acknowledged that Bella, Nadia's trainer, had also physically assaulted her. Fortunately, it was just a falsehood. These accusations have been refuted by Bella and Nadia. Bella takes action. The renowned trainer for gym stars has discussed this subject. Bella said that incidents of this kind are common in Romania and that their abolition is necessary. He described the pressure the government applied on athletes and their representatives, demanding a quick halt to injustice to protect the welfare of the nation's assets, sports stars. Their son, Dylan. Bart and Nadia enjoyed a happy marriage. However, the time had come for the two lovers to begin a family together. Interestingly, Nadia became pregnant a few years after they tied the knot. Bart and Nadia welcomed their son in 2006. Dylan, the little child, ends up being the focal point of his parents' lives. Now that they are a happy family, they are concentrating on their kid and living a calm life per their desires. Business. Bart and Nadia increased their business ideas today. They concentrated on selling gymnastics supplies and equipment and operating a gymnastics school. Their firm produces and markets various exercise equipment, including bars, grip tape, and crash pads. Their lives are fulfilling in terms of both love and finances. Their lives are happy and full of love. Even though many people think the things are pricey, they sell well. These former gymnasts undoubtedly produce excellent quality goods. They are regarded as the greatest in the gymnastics industry as well. Experts in this field adore it. Thus, it's evident that Nadia and Bart possess the traits of exceptional business people and sportsmen. Arnold, devoted follower. The gold medalist is undoubtedly a celebrity, followed by several others and even famous individuals from the past. As it happens, Nadia has other Hollywood beauties like Katie Holmes. One of the well-known actors from Terminator is also close friends with Nadia. Nadia and Bart now reside in Los Angeles. She unexpectedly ran across Arnold Schwarzenegger at the gym one day. Since she was little, she idolized the actor. Her producing business. Nadia has always aspired to advance in her preferred sport. She believed there was much more she could do to improve the field for newcomers. Thus, she decided to support young people with potential all over the globe to increase their chances of pursuing careers in this area. She decided to use the media to do this. Perfect 10 Productions was started by a gymnast from Romania. Now the business is flourishing. Mentality. Nadia gradually entered the commercial sector, and she was successful. The Romanian citizen's current net worth is around $10 million, and it was a long journey to get there. Whenever Nadia's accomplishments are brought up, everyone assumes that her skill is the primary factor. However, Nadia always believes the contrary. She doesn't believe that her skill is what made her successful. Something else is at play here. She claims this mentality helped her reach the highest levels of gymnastics superstardom. She was so afraid of losing that she decided never to allow it to happen. We also believe it requires some skill to win and get a 10-10 rating in the Olympics, even if we can appreciate and understand that she dislikes losing. She was fortunate to have her exceptional skills acknowledged. Unmatched by anybody. People anticipate someone will break her record, even though she feels she got the flawless first 10. They may wait for a very long time, however. The Romanian may reign for a very long time. She owns the record, which no one has yet been able to surpass. In addition, those who are keen to see the record broken will have to wait endlessly for it to occur. No athlete can get a perfect 10 at the Olympics due to changes in the rules governing athlete scoring protocols. Will Nadia's record-breaking and flawless scores always stand? Maybe. If Nadia's tale demonstrates anything, however, it's that records are meant to be broken, and one can only hope that the individual shattering her record comes from both her and Bart's school.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon